Other interesting business news, you have U.S. Steel reviewing more offers. Now, this is the Pittsburgh-based steel company founded in 1901 by J.P. Morgan and Andrew Carnegie, which are perhaps one of the most prolific names in American history. J.P. Morgan, also known nowadays as J.P. Morgan Chase, perhaps, if not the most successful financial institute in the United States, it's at least in the top three. It's certainly the largest in terms of, got Bank of America, J.P. Morgan Chase, and I'm sure someone comes in at third place. And it looks like this is interesting enough. U.S. Steel, they're reviewing offers now, but as recently as a couple weeks ago, they turned down a couple offers. So they turned down a large offer of $7.3 billion from industry rival Cleveland Cliffs, I apologize. And a couple weeks later, they got an offer from Esmark for $7.8 billion. Now, this is the fascinating thing about stock market, which again, I'm not a financial advisor or giving any financial advice, but just a speculation, just seeing that people made offers to the company, that caused their stock to rocket by 30%, which is astronomical. If you're a shareholder, you're smiling ear to ear, and you're also wondering who might come along and purchase the company. Now, the company previously had rebuffed the offer saying we're not interested, but now in a letter to the shareholders, they're saying they're actually reviewing new offers. Now, this was coming earlier Tuesday this week. You had U.S. Steel say in a letter, quote, it had entered into a confidentiality agreement with numerous third parties and was beginning to share the due diligence information with potential buyers, unquote, which is a fancy way of saying they're going to share sensitive data such as financial statements and some intellectual property perhaps with some potential buyers, because once you start to look at actually acquiring a company, you want to know as much data as possible to ensure that both parties are comfortable with the offer. You're getting an offer based on all the data that you have, and the seller, they want to make sure they don't get sued for improperly representing the company as something it's not. So it's very common, and it's interesting to see. I mean, over 100 years in business, or more likely over 100, about 125, getting close to 125 years in business. Why sell now? They've grown exponentially throughout the years. It seems like they have a great long-term plan. I'm actually surprised they're not the ones doing the acquisitions. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from here, and hopefully it stays American owned. It'll be interesting to see who ends up with the highest bid. But the industry is doing pretty good right now, even though the economy is precipitous to say the least. Steel is a vital, important component for warehouses. And as we see Amazon and all the e-commerce websites just explode exponentially in popularity, no matter how many brick and mortar traditional retail storefronts are shut down, you're always going to need warehouses for the actual storage and then the eventual transportation of the goods. So interestingly enough, we're seeing an economic boom in the construction of warehouses, which steel, you get steel rebar. There's a lot of things that go into making the warehouses. So fascinating enough, that industry seems to be growing exponentially. So it'll be interesting to see, do they sell out? And they already turned out $7.3 billion. They turned down $7.8 billion. How many billions will it take to actually buy the company or for them to accept the offer? That'll be interesting, but I always say, time shall tell. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, it's a crazy goal. We're trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of September. Greatly appreciate you taking the time to click that button. Also, don't forget to take the time to like and comment. The feedback is greatly appreciated, especially if it's critical, as we try to make the show better and better. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.